Okay, so this is the first time I'm attempting to use my Cricut Easy Press. I'm kind of embarrassed to say I've had this for, I think, a couple of years. I've never taken it out of the box. I've just always been kind of lazy and used my old method, which was with an ironing board. But I figured it was about time to try it out. So I watched a couple of, or I actually read through the manual. You get a lot of information. A little let's do this welcome packet from Cricut, a manual that talks about everything that you need to know about your Easy Press, and I do recommend reading this. Cricut also has some online information about settings and temperatures. They have a little sheet about a practice project that you can use, but I found a really nice link that I will put in my comment area that tells you if you actually just input the type of material you're using, like whether it's an iron-on or heat transfer, what have you, the actual material of your project. For example, this is a cotton t-shirt, and you input that and it tells you the temperature setting and the time that you need to use for pressing the iron-on. So I'm going to get started. I've already looked up. I'm using Everyday Iron-on. I'm making some shirts for a 6th grade play, and we have some characters who are stagehands, prop masters, sound crew, stage manager, that kind of thing. And so I'm just using simple black t-shirts. I picked these up at Michael's for $2.99. They were on sale. They're 100% cotton, and they work really well for kind of unisex sizing for kids and adults. And then I went ahead and just created very simple text designs on my Cricut design space, cut those out with the everyday vinyl, and I'm ready now to apply them to my t-shirt. So like I said, I looked up the link, input these materials, and it said that I need to set my temperature at 315 degrees. So I'm going to turn my Easy Press on. You can see that. You just hold down this plus symbol for temperature. And if you want to go a little faster, oops. Well, I'm going to hit temp. It goes up by increments of 10 if you hold it down. I need to go down to 315, so there's my degrees. And 30 seconds was the guide that it told me I need to use for my t-shirt. So I'm going to wait for that to warm up. What we need to, so you can see the Cricut light here is orange. And what happens is while the temperature is going to your desired setting, that will stay orange. And once the setting is the temperature is where you want it at, it will turn green and beep. So we're going to wait for it to get to 315. I did go and get an Easy Press mat because I've heard these are great to use. So I picked one of those up at Michael's and was very lucky because everything was 30% off. So I think that mat, I have a 12 by 12 mat. I'm using a 9 by 9 press. These come in 3 different sizes. There's a smaller version. Oh, okay, so there's the beep. So you see the light turn green. I'm at 315 degrees. So the first thing that we need to do is iron on your project for a little bit, and that's just to take out the moisture. So you're gonna just pick it up. You're going to get out all of the creases. This is very smooth. This takes out all the moisture. And now I'm going to show you a trick I'm going to use for placing my product. So I want to make sure that this word is centered. And so I'm going to do 2 things. I'm first going to fold my shirt in half. I'm going to line up all the seams, so the arms here and then the sides, and then I'm just going to give this a quick press so that I create a center seam. This might be a little bit hard to see because I'm using a black shirt, but here's that seam right down the middle of the shirt. And similarly, I'm going to fold my shirt at the armpits and give it another quick press. And that is going to give me the exact centering. So this is the exact centering of the middle of the t-shirt where those 2 lines intersect. Okay. So the other thing now to be important is to not put your design too low. This is a common problem, and then when you wear it, it looks kind of strange. So I'm going to measure, I want my designs kind of high. This is for an online production, and so I need to be very aware that everything on the shirt that I want to show is going to show. Okay, so I'm making sure I'm using the right shirt for the right. So I know my center line is right here. I'm going to measure about 3 inches down, because that's about how high I want the top of my vinyl to be. Okay, so I'm going to measure from the top to the end. This is 10 inches. My word is 10 inches, so I know that 5 inches is going to be where I want the center. Okay, so here's my 5-inch right in that center. And then I also want to be 3 inches down. So we'll center this, and then 3 inches down. So that's where I want to be. Okay. Just going to make sure, I like to over measure. Because once you do this, you can't undo it. Okay, so we're ready to go. Now I'm using, like I said, the 9x9, and so it is not a big enough surface to cover this 10-inch vinyl, so I'm going to have to press twice, and that's okay. You can press, you can overlap and press twice. That's not a big deal. So I'm going to start. I'm going to pick this up. I'm going to press down with medium pressure. I'm going to hit my start button, and that's going to count down the 30 seconds I need for my first press. So here we go. So you see it counting down right here on this timer. And I'm just putting medium pressure on it. So that's going to count down. The other thing that the online guide tells you is whether you can peel cold or hot. And using this Everyday Iron-on, it needs to be a cool peel. So I'm going to wait for it to cool down before I peel it. So you'll hear a beep when this timer is ready. We're at 3 seconds. Okay. And now I'm ready for my second, so I see where I press down, and I'm going to go for my next press. I do say, like, you know, I've used an iron method with a towel, you know, a dish towel over the vinyl, and I feel a lot more confident doing this. I feel like using the guide, and the press is going to give me a better result overall. We will see. Okay, all right, so I do need to wait for this to cool. Well, actually, I think I can flip this over now, because per the guide, I also need to do 10 to 15 seconds on the back. So I'm going to adjust my timer to 15 seconds and do a quick press on the back. In the same 2 spots. I'm just using gentle pressure. Okay, and one more on the other side. Okay. So the pressing is done. Now I'm going to wait for this to cool. This is a very hard part for me because I'm like ready to peel it off now, but we're going to wait for it to cool. There is, when you get your Cricut, there is a practice project that you can use, and I highly recommend doing this, just like if you're nervous about using it for the first time. This is a really great thing just to get you started. I also very much recommend this Easy Press mat. It does, if you don't have one of these, you can use a towel, and when you input your information to get the temperature and timer, you can actually input towel, and it will give you, it'll adjust for that, for using a towel. So not quite cool yet, but I think it looks good. Like I said, I'm very impatient, so I really do hope this went down all the way. I'm always nervous about peeling it up and having the vinyl or the iron-on come with it. And I'm going to go ahead and turn this off because I'm done using it for right now. If you forget to turn off and you've waited, I think it's probably, I think it's 10 minutes, I'm not exactly sure, it will automatically go off. It will beep 3 times and turn off. So if you are still creating and it's just been a little bit since you used it, you can just hit any of these buttons and it will stay on. So we're getting there. We're getting there. It's pretty cool. So I'm going to go ahead and peel. Oh, look at it. It looks really good. This is slick. Very happy. Okay, so here's my completed shirt. This is for one of the characters. That's stagehand. And look how nice that looks. Very even, nothing bubbling. I have to say, much more consistent than using an iron. So I would absolutely highly recommend the Easy Press. I kind of feel like I might need the smaller version and maybe even the bigger version. I've heard, I have not tried it in fusible ink yet with my Cricut, but I've heard that people that use infusible ink really like the bigger Easy Press for projects. So this is what I started with. I think the middle range, the 9x9 is a good one to start with, but I can certainly see advantages of having a smaller version. You know, like if you're doing like a baby onesie or something, or the larger version. But this is a good start, and I'm really glad I finally took it out of the box. So I hope this has been helpful, and I hope if you're like me, it alleviates some anxiety about using a new product. But it could not have been easier, and it's very clear. So when you take yours out of the box for the first time, open your Let's Do This envelope, read the manual, do a practice project. I will include the link for where you can input your materials and find out about your temperature and timer, and it's super slick. So there you go. Thanks so much for watching.